shall we start? 70 people there. In the news, you have shared these lectures news to all of your batchmates. Everyone knows.
Yes.
Okay, because of other exam duties and other important work, we can't have lectures on time at Friday 8 a.m. Right? So, kindly inform in your group. Now, lecture is going to start now. If anybody missed, they can join now. Right? Okay. So, under the environmental biology, we have discussed so many things related with ecology, ecosystem, and types of ecosystem, and classification and things, and ecological succession. And the last class, what we have discussed the biological indicators, and I have asked to differentiate the ecological indicators from biological indicators. And now we are going to discuss about the environmental pollution. Right. So what do you think about environmental pollution? Any ideas, any thoughts, anything when you see the slides, what do you come into your mind?
The environment changed from its original pattern.
Environment change from its original pattern. Great. Yeah, from the picture you can observe that one. Yeah. Any other answers?
And cause human activities.
Contamination with natural resources. Yeah, it's true. Anything else? Somebody ready to stop? Any idea? No ideas? Okay, so we will discuss, right? From after these lectures, you may able to define the what is pollution, what are the types of pollution, what kinds of pollution, that how they are occurring, how the pollutions are creating, and the term pollution and pollutant, and different pollution in different ecosystem and ecology, and different kinds of control measures. So we will discuss further, right? So the environmental pollution, it can be defined as any undesirable change in physical, chemical, biological characteristic of any component of the environment, right? So we can say undesirable change. Give me 1 minute. I will test that writing pen. Okay, right. So we can define this undesirable change. It may be in chemical manner, it may be in biological characteristics. So these undesirable changes happening in environment, it's known as environmental pollution. Right. For example, air pollution, water, soil. So air may be polluted with air may be have any undesirable changes in physical, chemical, biological manner. Water may be changed in physical manner, chemical manner. Soil getting contamination, or soil getting changes in physical properties. So those things is known as pollutions, right? So these which can cause harmful effects on various form of life or properties. So which are the things living in soil? So for example, soil organisms. So water organisms. In air also there are some organisms. So in various form of lives or properties getting harmful effects because of these undesirable changes. Right. So mainly pollution, the term pollution can be defined as the influence of any substance causing nuisance, harmful effects, or uneasiness to the organisms. That is known as pollution. The term pollutant, right, that is a substance, any substance which is causing these effects, nuisance or any other harmful effects or uneasiness. So those substances are known as pollutant, right? The process is known as pollution. That substance is known as pollutant, right? So types of pollution. We can define the types: air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, thermal pollution, radiation pollution, right? So these all pollution types you already know, right? We will discuss further. Water pollution. So what do you think? What is water pollution? How these water pollutions are created? So as in the definition, water pollution can be defined as alteration in physical, chemical, biological characteristics of water through natural or human activities. It may be natural process or otherwise man-made activities also creating the water pollution. And through these activities, it can making the water unsuitable for its designs used. For example, for designed use, we can see the main vital role of water is the drinking purpose, the organism drinking water for the vital thing, right? So that is a design use. So if any water body, so we have one pond, that pond or the well, right? So that water is using for a drinking purpose, right? Now, because of these natural disaster or natural activity or natural things or human activities, if that water is not suitable for drinking, that is giving the name, the alteration in physical or chemical biological characteristic is giving water pollution. See here, the accumulations or the concentration of the waste in the water body, and waste discharges from the some other industrial or any other industries or any other household in the water bodies. It may be the water bodies may be river, ponds, any other small water bodies. So those things are getting these alteration. See here. Is this the nature of this water body? These plastic bags and bottles, those are concentrated in the coastal sites. Is this the nature?
No.
Yeah. So this nature of the water body is changing because of some other activities or some other natural disaster. Right? That is creating pollutions on water bodies. Right. So if we talk about the sources of water pollution, so mainly the water bodies are getting pollution through the man-made activities. So it may also occur naturally, but the proportion is high for the man-made activities, right? So it can be occur naturally by additions of soil particles through the erosion. So through the soil erosions or some other animal waste accumulations or the discharge of animal waste in a particular area. So leaching also creating some leaching of some of the minerals from rock areas. That also creating water pollution in the natural way. Right? And those also water pollution can be classified as municipal wastewater, industrial waste, inorganic pollutant, organic pollutant, agriculture waste also giving pollutions. We can't say agriculture waste are fully organic. So they are also inorganic wastes there, right? And marine pollution, thermal pollution. So we can categorize the thermal pollution under the water pollution because it's related with water, right? The municipal waste water is discharging in the water bodies. So municipal waste, normally municipal council disposing this waste near to the water bodies. So that also creating water pollutions. Industrial waste, right? So industrial waste may be textile industry, some other food processing industries also. They are discharging some of the chemicals, for food processing chemicals in the water body. So that also creating pollution. And the industrial waste may be organic or inorganic. So it related with that nature of the industry. Maybe organic industries can discharge the organic waste. For example, food processing. So any other food processing. So near to our faculty, that there is a food processing unit is there. So from there also, when you are crossing that area, you may feel some of the smell. So when you are going for train here in Algal Nahar, you can feel in the railway station some of the bad smell coming from the industry. So that area, water and that area land is polluted with those discharges. So those creating the land pollution as well as if it is discharges in the water body, so those also creating water pollutions, right? So inorganic pollutants. So it can include fine particles of different metals. So for the inorganic, we can say metals, chlorides, sulfates and oxides of ions, cadmium, acids and alkaline, right? So these are known as inorganic pollutants. So likewise, there are organic pollutants. So for example, oil, fats, phenols, organic acids, grease, or several other organic compounds that the oil related, fat related things, right? So for example, we can say oil spills in the ocean, right? So the oil tank damages in the ocean, or the damaged oil tanks disposal in the coastal area. So those also creating the pollution. So that is organic pollutants. So you have to differentiate the inorganic pollutants as well as the organic pollutants, right? This is the difference between organic and inorganic pollutants from in case of water pollutions, right? And agricultural waste. So think in the agricultural waste. So it's in two ways: organic agriculture, inorganic agriculture. So when we talk about the organic, the amount of the discharging substances causing the damage is less. However, it's creating the damage, right? When compared to the inorganic discharges. For example, chemical fertilizers and pesticides, chemical pesticides have become essential for present-day high-yielding crops. See our country situation in the crop production because of the banning the chemical fertilizers and application of chemical fertilizers. We are troubling to getting agricultural production or getting high yield. So suddenly we can't move the for long period. We are relying on the inorganic fertilizer. So the chemical fertilizers, pesticides discharges. So that also creating the land pollution as well as the water pollution. So I'm not supporting the chemical fertilizers and pesticides, but we can't suddenly move to this organic side suddenly, because organic farming will take time, but it will give more effect, right? So second one is consequently they have become a potential source of water pollution, right? So that it become essential for in the agricultural production. Likewise, as it is its potential source, main source for the water pollution in near to the agricultural lands or agricultural areas. And these fertilizers contain major plant nutrition, mainly nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. For these three, we are using that, isn't it? So when the usage is exceeding the recommended level, so Department of Agriculture. Department of Agriculture suggesting some recommendation level, isn't it? Do you know any other department people here? Department people, that agriculture department people.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you tell why the Department of Agriculture is giving recommendation level of fertilizers and pesticides?
Already soil have fertilizer. So crop
Any other answers? Yeah, you are right. Already soil we already discussed how the nutrients are recycling, how the nutrient cycling happen, each and every cycles, the nitrogen, phosphorus cycles we have discussed. So how the nutrients are moving in a cycle manner to the atmosphere and the land, the terrestrial area, right? So when we go for the cropping, when we go for the agricultural purpose, that land is getting more nutrition, right? So we have to replace that one. We are using fertilizers. When the amount of application is excess than the need of plants, right? That will create the excess amount of fertilizer, which may be can create leaching or maybe mixed with surface water of rivers, lakes, and ponds by runoff and drainage. Right? If there is any drainage systems there, those excess fertilizer will be contaminated with that drainage system. Likewise, it can be moved in the water flow and it can end in the ponds through the runoff, right? So this is related with the agricultural waste and marine pollution. So ocean is the finest thing we know. So ocean, wherever the water is started its journey, it will end in the ocean. So that is the finest thing of all natural or man-made pollutants, because water is moving in the flow, right? When the water is moving with the water, the pollutants also will move, also will mixed and discharge in the end of the ocean. So those discharges, so rivers discharge their pollutants into the sea, right? So that will create the marine pollution. So the sewage or garbage of coastal cities are also dumped into the sea water. So that is the major cause for the marine pollutions. And likewise, we already discussed that oil, grease, detergents, when shipment is happening, right, from the ships, they are exporting, importing from different countries. So through that journey, that those things can be discharged or split or damaged, those creating the marine pollutions, right? Another one is thermal pollution. So thermal pollution also one of the in case of thermal pollution of water is caused by the rise in temperature of water. So normally it's related with water. So thermal pollution is creating when of water is increased, right? And the main source of thermal pollution is the thermal or nuclear power plants. So it's creating the more heats. So it's end up with the thermal pollution. The power generating plants use water as coolants, and it's releasing after the process they're releasing hot water into the original source. So as a source it's getting the water and releasing the hot water. So that is when the temperature of water is exceeding, that will create some other thermal pollution. Because of the thermal pollution, what will happen, the effect of thermal pollution? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Increasing temperature of water, it doesn't matter. But there are some effect to the organisms surviving in the water bodies, isn't it? So the fourth sentence, sudden rise in temperature kills fish and other aquatic animals. See, the sudden rise. If the water body is getting temperature in frequent manner or slow manner, the organism living in the water body will be adapted to the changes. But the sudden rise, like thermal pollutions, will create the damages or kill the organisms like fish and some other aquatic animals, right? So this is the thermal pollution and its effect. So effects of water pollution. See what is first image showing? First image. First image.
Eutrophication.
Yeah, eutrophication. What does it mean by eutrophication?
The growth of algae on the top of the river.
Yeah, growth of algae on the top of the river. What's the reason for that? Growing algae. So, is it possible the growing algae in all water bodies? All water bodies, is it possible, or are there any potential to grow algae in all water bodies? Why this scenario is happening? I need answers from you. No answers? Otherwise, I will call the names. Purni. Purni. So you people log in into these lectures and you will.
The increased concentration of phosphorus and nitrogen in the water causes the blooming of algae.
Yeah, good. So increasing the nutrient content of phosphorus and nitrates, phosphates and nitrates. Mainly we can say phosphates and nitrates. So when these increase, that will give more nutrition for the growth of algae. So algal blooming. So we can say algal blooming happened because blooming mean it's giving more pleasant things of algae. So algal blooming mean because of the such nutrient availability, it will bloom. So algal growth of algal will increase. So that is creating the eutrophications, right? So because of eutrophication, there will be some other effects. So the sunlight will be interrupt, which is reaching inside the water bodies. Then what will happen if the sunlight blocking happen? What will the next damage to the ecosystem, water body?
The aquatic plants cannot survive.
Yeah, aquatic plants which is rely on the sunlight for their photosynthesis or some other process, they can't produce, they can't go through with the photosynthesis. Then those kind of plants will die, right? And some other effects. You are talking about plants. What about some other aquatic animals, small fishes? What will happen? If there is no any photosynthesis happen inside in some layer, we can't go for the deep layer for the photosynthesis. So in the top layer only, top layer plants, the submerged plants and floated plants will do this photosynthesis. If the photosynthesis interrupt, the oxygen released to the water body will decrease or increase.
Decrease.
Then biological oxygen demand. That means what? Biological oxygen demand. BOD.
Oxygen is the purest.
It's not clear. Can you repeat it? Whether the biological oxygen demand will increase or decrease.
Increase.
Oxygen amount will increase or decrease.
Decrease.
Then biological oxygen demand will increase or decrease.
Increase.
Because of the availability of oxygen decreasing, the biological oxygen demand will increase, right? Then what are the organisms is rely on the oxygen, those organisms will die, right? So these are the effects of this kind of water pollution. And see third image, you can see here, third image, the water scarcity can create, right? Then see the fourth picture. Starting from this, it will end up here, right? If there is no any ecosystem function happen, we will end up with this kind of effects, right? So lower DO, that means demand oxygen. So maybe dissolved oxygen. So maybe harmful to animals, right? So it can create eutrophications, bioaccumulation, biomagnification. Can anybody tell what does it mean by? You already heard about the accumulation, magnification. What's the difference between bioaccumulation and biomagnification? Any idea? Okay, think about the word accumulation, magnification. It's look like same, but there are some differences. When we talk about the food chain or food web, didn't I talk about this word biomagnification? I didn't remember. Did I talk about this word biomagnification? Okay, I will explain. Nobody is not responding. Shall I call the names? Ashika, Ramachandra, Ashika 001, 001, Okay, then I can note the index numbers and name. Who are those responding? Who are those not responding? Is not in the class. Like 001. Last I called the name Purni. She also didn't respond to me. And another thing I am noticing at the end of the class, Who are those not wind up today's class? There may be 3 or 4 people will stay in the class. So those people, I realize those people are logging in when we are starting the lectures and keeping phone or laptop in the room or anywhere else. They are going some other business. They are going for some other business, isn't it? Dania Erangi, 034.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Do you have any idea about bioaccumulation and biomagnification? So we have discussed about eutrophication. Are you clear with the eutrophication explanation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now tell me, do you have any idea accumulation of bioaccumulation and biomagnification? I always telling don't put messages or chat box in chat box because it's difficult to read. If you are unmute and talk, it's nice. Biomagnification, accumulation of chemicals. Yeah, it's right. Okay. Satindri. Okay. You. Danya.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, any ideas? No, any ideas? Jayami Sirandika. Jayami Sirandika.
Yes, ma'am.
Any idea in bioaccumulation and biomagnification? No idea? Anybody? Any volunteers? Simple thing. The word will tell the meaning. Accumulation, magnification. What does it mean, magnification? You have studied microscope, no? What does it mean, magnification?
Increasing.
Hmm?
Increasing.
Increasing. Yeah. In case of microscope, we can say enlarging the image, isn't it? Enlarging. So here, in case of the chemical or substances, we can say they are concentrated, they are accumulated in a manner, right? So increasing the concentration, increasing the accumulation. For example, in a field, right? So aphids. Aphids.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's kind of insects, right? So we are spraying some chemical for that aphids to control the aphids, right? When we are spraying the chemical, what will happen? That chemical will accumulate in the body of aphids, right? So maybe the chemical can go through the skin of the insects or through the body. Otherwise, the aphids can eat the chemical, right? So aphid can bring that, like it can go through the food canal, right? So that is accumulation. So continuously, if that aphid is eating, or if the aphid is eating on the sprayed leaves, so that chemical, the particular chemical, will accumulate in the body of aphid. Understood? Accumulation, right? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you know the food chain, right? So in the food chain, start from aphids. What's the next trophic level? For example, tell any animal or any other organism which is feed on aphids.
And
Ants. Okay, ants not feeding on aphids. So some other predators, right? Ants are helping the aphids to move in, right? It's discharging because aphids are discharging. So I'm moving some other topics, right? Aphids are discharging some other sugar material, right? Honey material. For that honey material, that ants are coming near to that aphids area. That's why you are observing some other ants near to the apids, right? Okay, now we will move into the biomagnification explanation, right? So now the particular chemical is accumulated. Bioaccumulated means continuously for 2-3 days if the apid or if the apid is getting the accumulation of that chemical, that apid is having concentrated chemical in its body. Right now, we can say predator, insect, because apid is the insect. Insect predators can eat the apids, right? So any other predators which are eating the insects, right? So apids, what will happen now?
This chemical transfer into the other animal.
Yeah, if the predator eating one apex, 1 times of chemical will be deposited. Then 2 apex, then 2 times, 3 apex, 3 times. Like me, it will concentrated in the body of predator, right? So after from the predators, in next trophic level, some other animals can eat that predators, right? In trophic level 3, right? What will happen next? Now this predator having the chemical, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Then it will move through the food chain in each trophic level, and it will magnify. This chemical concentration is getting enlarging. This chemical concentration is getting increasing. That is biomagnification. See, the bioaccumulation is dealing with single organism, but the biomagnification is dealing with the food chain or food web. Understood? That's the major difference. Any doubts in the differentiation of bioaccumulation and biomagnification? Right? So pesticides are we know and under the effect of water pollution, pesticides are harmful to aquatic life. So that meaning is pesticides are creating pollution, so that is harmful to aquatic life, right? And dyes, inorganic compounds which are discharging induce the color change in animals. So in related to the animal harmful effect of the animals from the water pollutions, right? Diseases can be caused to the drinking contaminated water. So recently in our RO plant water also they said the E. coli found, right? And swimming in polluted water. So normally when we are going for any other resorts or hotels or for our holiday trips, please avoid swimming in the pools because I have experienced that normally it's a common pool, no? So if they are not changing water regularly, anybody having skin diseases, so when they are swimming in the pools, what will happen? When we are going to that pools, we will get some skin allergies, right? So these things can happen. So if in the ponds, it talk about the pools. If it is ponds near to the natural ponds, if they are discharging any chemicals in the ponds, if you don't know it's polluted with some other chemicals, if you swim in the pools or if you swim in the ponds, you will get some other skin diseases and contact with chemically polluted waters, right? So these are some other effects of water pollutions, right? And how you can prevent the water pollutions. Okay, without seeing this one, tell me how you can prevent the water pollution. How you can identify the water pollution? Before prevention, you have to identify, no? How you can identify? Answer me. Yeah. One person told answer. Can you repeat? Grade. We can say color change. Some other things. Yeah. We already smell. Good. So for this question, you can think about from the definition. We told physical, chemical, biological characteristic, changes in physical, chemical, biological characteristic, isn't it? So, if you want to identify, if you want to test, what are things you have to test? Physical properties, chemical properties, and biological properties of water. Right? So, color change, turbidity, pH, and chemical compound, we can say pH, some other ratios of the water content, and the organism present in the water body. For example, E. coli. So there's a limit for E. coli of drinking water and normal fresh waters, right? The daily usage water. If the E. coli counting is increasing, that water is contaminated water. Right? So in this manner, we can go for the water testing of the water pollution. Right? So from this idea, we can go for the prevention methods. So we can say because of the pesticides and fertilizers excess usages giving the water pollution. So we have to avoid the overusage. So we can go with the farmers are thinking farmers are clever than us, but farmers are thinking when we are applying more fertilizer, we can get more yield. It's not like that. When we exceeding the recommendation level, the soil will get damaged quickly, right? So second thing we can say, don't throw non-degradable substances into rivers. For example, non-degradable substances, tell me.
Plastic.
Yeah, plastics and polythene bags. So don't dispose these things into rivers, lakes, and oceans. And pre-treatment of industrial wastewater before leaving to the water bodies. So if we go for the pre-treatment, then we can reduce the we can say the heavy metals, right? And next thing we can say, rivers should not be used for washing clothes and bathing animals. So in earlier in before 30-40 years ago, the people used rivers for their washing clothes and bathing the animals, cattle and other buffaloes. They are used to do in that manner. But in those times, we didn't get any pollutions. But in the usage of new methods and other things, it's now end up with the pollutions in the areas, right? So we can say harvesting of rainwater to meet water requirement. That means we can keep any tanks if we have in any 2-story, 3-story building. In the top of the building, we can keep any water tank for harvesting the rainwater. So otherwise, who are those having large areas or acres of hectares of areas, people can keep tanks and having a rainwater to having their requirements. And dams and embankments must be created. So when we are creating dams and other things for the other main purposes, we can reduce the water pollution and we can recreate some of the water bodies. And the rivers must not be contaminated. So we have to go through with some of the steps to prevent or control the contaminations of rivers, right? And we can say the general methods for water purifications in the manner of physical process, chemical process, biological process, and radiations. So physical process, you can say filtration, sedimentation. Biological process, slow sand filters, activated sludge, right? So in the manner of chemical process, flocculation and chlorination. So we are using chemical chlorinations for that purifying the water bodies. And in the radiation manner also, we can go for the purification ultraviolet light method, right? These are the general purification methods, right? So this is the simple example of wastewater treatment. So it has sequence of steps which will end up with the wastewater purification, wastewater treatment plants. Right? Are you all okay with the water pollution? Any other doubts? Just under the water pollution, how it's creating sources and how we can go for the control or management practices. Right? So next one is air pollution. So air pollution mainly we can define presence of any solid, liquid, gaseous substances, including noise also, noise and radioactive radiation in the atmosphere in such concentration that may be directly and indirectly injurious to humans and other living organisms. It can end up with the organisms not only surviving in the air, it can end up with the organisms living in the earth, plants properties, and interferes with the normal environmental process. For example, if water body is getting pollution, directly the main things which are the organisms directly depend on the water body will get effect. But air pollution will give more serious effect in the environmental process. Right? So air pollutants are we can classify into two types: suspended particulate matters and gaseous pollutants. Right. So air pollution occurs when concentrated gases exceed safe limit. Why we are saying exceed a safe limit? Because that these particulate matters and gaseous substances already existing in the air atmosphere. When those things getting the limit, when those things exceeding the limit, that will create the pollution. Remember those particulate matters. These particulate matters. Is it the alien pollutant to the atmosphere? Is it? See, example of gaseous pollutants. We are saying gaseous pollutant CO2. Is it CO2 pollutant in normal case? Normal environment?
No.
Yeah. When it's getting the name as pollutant,
When exceeding the level.
yeah, good. When it's exceeding the safe limit. Right? Understood the theory. Yeah? Okay. So this is the area. Atmosphere, contamination by industries, the disposal of gaseous substances to the atmosphere. Right? So we can say types of air pollution. So indoor pollution, indoor air pollution, outdoor air pollution. So outdoor air pollution we can say smog, particulates, acid rain, and greenhouse gases effects. Right? Indoor air pollutions because of smoking. Some other parents, some other fathers, some other grandfathers are smoking inside the homes. So that also creating inside air pollution. Why we can say that is a pollution? Because some people don't like that smoke from smoking, right? So it may be allergic to some other persons. So when one organism getting harmful effect, that is pollution, right? So what does it mean by smoke? It's not smoke. See, SOMKE, it's smoke. What is this? Any idea? Smoke. Any idea? Please talk with me. See me. I'm coming from faculty and directly I'm started to having lectures for you. So please respond. No any idea? Anybody? Am I audible? அதுக்காச்சும் பதில் சொல்லுங்க. கேக்குதா?
Yes, ma'am.
Then, if you don't know, tell me. This word is new to us. Tell me. Sorry.
Like connection.
You are answering.
Smoke and pollutants.
Kind of pollutants. I hope you know, but you are keeping silent. Yeah, fog. Yeah, you know, you people are having knowledge. FOG, fog. So, smoke plus fog. Smoke plus fog. That's creating smoke. Right, you know smoke, right? Smoke from firing some of the particles or some of the waste. Smoke can be created. Fog means it's the water in gaseous form, right? So it can when water is getting evaporation, so that is water in the stage of gaseous form, right? So when these two combine, it's creating smoke. Smoke definitely it's a pollutant or creating pollutions, right? Understood what's the meaning of smoke? Smoke plus fog, right? So fog is a gaseous form of water, right? So definitely it's creating when the industrial discharge is happening, because with the heat, when the water is discharging, it's creating, it's end up with the fog. Then if that fog is mixed up with the smoke, that is creating smoke. You can see in where the vehicles density is high, the highly dense areas or cities. For example, in some of the Colombo area, they gave some of the reports before Corona, before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. Do you know that news? They showed the picture of the Colombo area earlier, the smoke picture, and now after the COVID-19, we had lockdowns, continuous lockdown. In that time, they take same picture, same area picture and posted. Anybody shown that news?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now realize that is smoke. So it's creating from smoke plus fog, right? Okay. So causes of the air pollution. It may be natural resources from the natural causes or human causes. So smoke that comes from wildfire, methane dust, pollen grains. So pollen grains also creating the air pollution. So when it exceeding. See, for example, take a flower which is having pollens. So keep near to your nose and dust it. Definitely you will have sneezing or coughing, isn't it? So that also the excess amount of pollen grains also will create some other effects, side effects, right? So volcanic eruptions, some other storms. So through the storm also the air pollution, because storm will take all the particles, all the metals in that area, and it passes heavily with the speed and move to other areas. So that is mixed with in the air. So it will create the air pollution. Spores mean fungal reproductive parts. So when it's high concentration in the air, so it will create pollution, bacteria and some other microorganisms when it exceeding their limits, right? And human sources, we can say power plants and automobiles using for industrial purposes, and burning wood stoves. So normally earlier people, our grandfathers, their grandmothers, they are used to cook in the wood stoves. But nowadays, it's the level of usages is exceeded. So it's coming under the causes of the air pollutions, right? some other unwanted fireplaces, furnace, fossil fuel burning, that also creating that gaseous substances mixed to the atmosphere, and mining, nuclear explosions. So those are the causes in the manner of human sources, right? So source and classification. Two way we can say the source: stationary source and mobile source, right? So I think we are going to exceed 4 minutes more, but however you have to give me about 20 minutes, we can finish. This is the last class of the environmental biology, right? So we can quickly finish this one. And Monday you are coming physically, no?
Yes.
Yeah, have you had your timetable? 18th it's for biology. 18th of August.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when you are coming for that biology, please come with your doubts, clarification, and other things. Right. So when you come on 18th, you have the assignments with you. No? When I'm having lectures, I'm giving some other assignments. No, come bring those things and submit in the department. Right. Okay. We will continue the discussion. Stationary sources, mobile sources. So stationary sources can be divided into two: point sources, area sources. Point sources mean particularly that sources in a located area that is not moving, right? Point. So industrial processing, power plants, they are not moving, they are pointing because they are discharging in a particular area, point area. So those are point sources, right? So fuel combustion and solid waste disposal, and miscellaneous disposals, right? And area source mean residential heat, charcoal, gas, oil. So in the institutional commercial heating of charcoals and oil and gases. So those are area sources, a particular area, right? And mobile sources mean moving. See, say some mobile sources. We can say vehicles, highway vehicles. Normally the highway vehicles are big vehicles, right? So large ones. So from those vehicles, discharges are high. Railroad locomotives, right? Channel vessels, they are moving. So those are in line source. In the mobile source also, area source, right? Motor vehicle. So motor vehicle will not move from we can say from Jaffna to Mathura. So only 3 or 4 people will have this kind of journey as adventurous journey to taking bike for traveling. But normally motor vehicles, the motorbikes and other things will move in a particular area. For example, Eastern Province, Northern Province. So those are area sources. And rail jar locomotives, that mean rail jar means it's the particular area. Railroad means the road is extended, for example, in Sri Lanka, we can say from Jaffna to Vaunia. So that is railroad. Rail yard means every station have rail yard, right? So that is area source, line source, right? So we are categorizing stationary source, mobile source. That means stationary means non-transportable. That means it's a point one. It's non-mobile source, right? So mobile source means it will move. So from those sources, discharging substances are the sources of under this one, right? And classification of pollutants in two ways. One is, this is classification of source, right? This is classification of pollutants. Pollutants may be classified in primary pollutants and secondary pollutant. What do you think primary pollutant and secondary pollutant? Any idea? Any idea? Primary, secondary. You know pollutants. What is pollutants? Tell me primary, secondary. Yeah, it's creating cause directly. So, example, particulate matter, sulfur dioxide. So, sulfur dioxide creating some other causes on animals or plants. Nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide. So, carbon monoxide directly is leading death of the organisms, right? So, secondary pollutant means from the primary pollutants, when they are interacting with some other chemicals, some other forms of chemicals, or any other another forms, when it's creating new forms, that is secondary pollutants. For example, see sulfur dioxide, right? So when sulfur dioxide is reacting with oxygen, what will come? When sulfur dioxide reacting with oxygen, what's the result? SO3, right? When this SO3 is again reacted with water molecule in the atmosphere, what's the result? Yeah, H2SO4. So, what's the result of H2SO4 concentration is in atmosphere?
Acid rain.
Yeah, great. So, acid rain. So, this is secondary pollutant. Understood? So, from the primary pollutant, when the primary pollutant is react with some other chemicals found in the atmosphere, it's creating secondary pollutants. Right? Secondary pollutants also having effects on the animals and some other organisms. Right? Adverse effects of air pollution, health problems. Health problems, we can say when who are the people having asthma and that respiratory issues, when they are exposing to the particular polluted area, definitely they will face more issues, right? And Michael Jackson, we will have some other ideas. Just remember the health issues of air pollution. Because nobody is a fan of Michael Jackson. You know Michael Jackson? Then tell me about Michael Jackson. Did you observe Michael Jackson is wearing mask on that time before COVID also? Why he wearing mask? Sorry, why he weared mask? Yeah, he has some other respiratory issues and he has he had some skin problems. So when the immunity problem, so when he exposed to that polluted air, suddenly he may go through with the health issues. Because of that, he used mask. Go and see the YouTube videos of Michael Jackson in those before 20 years ago also, he weared mask, right? So it's some example I'm saying, right? Health issues. So normally, if we are going for some other nuclear plants, new power plants, if you want to go inside, they are asking to use health the protection measures. They are giving some shoes, masks when we are go inside, right? So those creating health issues and livestock damages. It may be skin damages. Livestock also have respiratory damages and agricultural damages. Agricultural damages can create in which manner? Can anybody explain? So you know how health problems created, livestock problem created, agricultural damage. How the agriculture is getting damaged because of air pollution? Any explanation idea?
through the acid rain, it may cause the
Yeah, great, great. Acid rain will create damage on plants that will give the damage for the system, cropping system and yield. In some other way,
I think when gases in the atmosphere are exceeding its level, so the photosynthesis may affect it.
yeah, the photosynthesis can be affected through the gas composition changes. Yeah, great. One more thing we can say, dust particles, that when you are getting pollution, dust particle will sediment on the leaf surfaces. Then photosynthesis will reduce. So these are the some agricultural damages. And material damage. Material damage means, so go and see your home's windows, that steels and some other paintings, they are getting damaged. So see we can say the paint advertisement. What they are saying in paint advertisements. Don't you see any paint advertisements? Okay, go and see today, right? So they are saying waterproof and that fan effect free and chemical effect free. Why they are saying that? That's it's that air pollutants and water pollutants give the damage to that materials. So, for example, steel also they are giving some advertisement when they are giving advertisement. So, material damage can create through the air pollutants and effect on climates because of the changes that global warming and heat, the temperature increasing, those things can create as effect on climate. Right, air pollution control. So control maybe we can say preventive measures, control measures using equipment. Prevention is mean before creating the pollution, before creating the thing, we are doing prevention methods. So we can say selection of suitable fuel. Suitable fuel mean low in sulfur content, low sulfur falls in power plant. So selection, that mean before that. Selection mean before the procedure, before the pollution, and modification in industrial process. So before the industry's implementation, the modification, and they are creating some of the best way for the discharge or converting the air pollutants, right? And selection in suitable sites and zoning of industrial unit. So it's better to have industries in a separate areas than having within a community areas, and reducing the usage of motor vehicles. For example, there are electric vehicles here, isn't it? Nowadays, you can see electric motorbike, electric cars are there. So reducing usage of vehicles which are using fuel. Right. So these are the examples. Controlling air pollution controlling equipments. Gravitational setting chamber. This one. Right. It's because of its settling through the size particle size. Right. And cyclone separator. So cyclone separator. This one. This one. Cyclone separator is through the centrifugal force. Through the centrifugal force, it's separating, right? And electrostatic precipitator, this one, right? So through the charges, through the it's work in the principle of electrical charge. See, because of the charges of small particles can be separated, right? Next one, this one, fabric filters. Right, so flue gases pass through polluted gases pass through the fabric materials. Right, fabric filters, woven fabric filters that will capture this particulate materials. Right, scrubbers, this one. Right, so these are the air pollution controlling equipments they are using in some other industries to control the air pollutions. Right, next one we can move quickly. Land pollutions, we already talked about the land pollution when we discussed about the water pollution. So land pollution is the demolitions of earth, land surface often caused by human activities and their misuse of land resources. Right. So I already asked, kindly give me 10 to 15 minutes. It occurs when waste is not disposed properly. So we are disposing waste to the land, but when the waste is not disposing improper way, right? So otherwise we can say improper way of disposal is creating land pollutions. For example, urbanization, industrialization are the major causes of land pollution. See, so in Jaffna, you know the waste disposal area, Kapi or something. Anybody knows?
Yes, miss.
Anybody knows? Kapi disposal area?
Yes, miss.
I may be wrong. People from Jaffna, is it
Kakai.
right?
Yes, miss.
Is it right, Kapi?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, so in Kapi they are disposing the waste, but is it modified now? When in 3 years ago, that area it's like a polluted area. All waste are dumping there, right? So we have to take actions for this. So portion of land pollutions, we can say construction and agriculture activities also creating land pollution. For example, excess amount of discharge of pesticides, fertilizers will damage the soil fertility, right? So when the soil fertility getting damaged, that also kind of land pollutions, right? And discharging that some other domestic waste mean from household waste. We are not separating waste. We are mixing the degradable, non-degradable and disposing to the land. So that also creating land pollution and mainly industrial waste. Right, so the effects of land pollution, we can say soil pollution, it's leading soil pollution, environmental impact and effect on human health, distraction for tourists. See, when the land areas in these conditions, right? So tourists will not like to go those areas. So our economy, the earning from the tourism will get down, right? So effect on wild animals, wildlife, right? For example, in Trincomalee, you can see deers, right? So nowadays the population of deers reduced because of land pollution. The deers are eating polythene and some other things. They are thinking they are eating those things. So because of that, it's the population is reducing because of dying of deers, right? So these also these are some effects, right? So prevention method, we can say great prevention to the land pollution is 3R method: reduce waste, reuse waste, and recycling the things, right? So these, if we follow these things, we can minimize or prevent the land pollution. But this is most appropriate for the land pollution prevention. We can't apply this for air pollution or water pollution for 100% of prevention. And noise pollution. So noise is basically any unwanted sounds. So noise also kind of sound, but when it's getting in the manner of unwanted, that is noise, right? So noise pollution. So noise pollution sources, we can say street traffic, railroads, and rail track sound, and airplane sound, and construction area. We can't go near to the construction area. It's giving some noise. And consumers products. Some other consumer products also giving some noise sounds, right? Some people may like that one, but for some people or some animals, it's giving noises, right? Effect of noise pollution. People left from the lectures. Okay. Effect of noise pollution, we can say in manner of effect on human, animal, and environment. So in the property, so as well as in the vegetations, right? So normally for this noise thing is irritation. We will get irritation, and some people, some people having some how can I say? When we are making sound like this, and when we are making sound in wall, when we are making in the some small sounds in wall, people getting effect in their teeth. You know that effect?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Yeah. So those getting nervous, that also kind of irritation and nervous, and they are getting some stress. It will lead from stress. My friend is in that she has that problem. When I am doing that one, she will say stop, Nirosa, stop that one. Don't do it. Like this, she get stress. So it's kind of stress creating factors, right? And sleep disturbance, increased blood pressures, right? These are the effect of noise pollution. And for the control of noise pollution, we can say control at source. That means sound. So when we are giving, when we move in the sound manner, it's okay. When we creating unwanted sound, it's there. So stop the unwanted sound creations and control the transmissions path and using protective equipments. For example, some people when they are traveling, have anybody travel in aeroplane? They are giving some protective things for ears when flight take over, because it's giving some unbalance to our body, that because of the sounds, right? So these are the things we can go for the control of noise pollution. And then radioactive pollution. So radioactive pollution can be defined as the emission of high energy particles, radioactive substances into the air and water or land also. So even wherever it's discharging, it's creating that pollution, radioactive pollutions. Due to it may be mainly it may be human activities in the form of radioactive waste, because these the high energy particles are there in the atmosphere or water or land area. But when because of the radioactive waste, it's creating as a pollutions. Right, sources of radioactive pollutions, production and research of nuclear weapon, and mining of radioactive ores, and medical waste also kind of creating medical waste also kind of source for the radioactive pollution, and nuclear power plants. Do you know any of the Japan history of what is that? What was that? Yeah, what was the Hiroshima and Nagasaki? What happened from that? How long? Yeah. So Japan, they got collapsed. No, they took time to recover from that history, right? So you have to know the things, the basic ideas or basic events happened earlier. So it will give more ideas for you, right? So industrial radiography is in the medical side also. They are using radiation for some other purposes. That also sometimes they creating pollution. So they having limit, 4 months or 3 months, 6 months limit to having X-ray and some other scanning. Why they are having? It will create some side effects, right? So radioactive pollution sources also maybe we can categorize into natural source and anthropogenic source. So natural source, cosmic rays, outer space radioactive radon, right? And anthropogenic, it's a main role, it's taking main role, nuclear power plants, nuclear accidents, nuclear explosions, nuclear testing, the testing of nuclear plant also is come under this. X-rays, diagnostic kits, test laboratories. And effect of radiations, we can say genetic damage. So mainly other pollutions not directly go with the genetic damage, but definitely radioactive pollution will create genetic damage directly through the radiation, so which affect the genes and chromosomes. So this, for example, we can say it can lead to the mutation. You will study in third year, right? So somatic damage includes burns, miscarriages, means that abortions of babies, eye cataract, and cancer of bones, thyroid, breast cancers, lung cancers, skin cancers, those can create, right? So control of nuclear pollutions, we can say setting of nuclear power plants should be carefully done. Proper disposal of waste from laboratory should be done, and uranium, thorium mining, and refineries must be carefully handled, right? And indoor pollution should be minimized through the radioactive pollutions. So these are the things we have to know in the environmental pollution topic, right? Any other ideas or any other doubts under this? So this is enough. If we want to go further, so we have to go further in the topic, each and every topic. Water pollution, there are a lot of the things in water pollution. Air pollution, we can move with some other, right? These are the overview of the environmental pollutions. So you all okay with this environmental pollution? Any other doubts, clarifications? Am I fast? At last, I went quickly because people started to leave. That's why.
Understood.
Okay, then if you all okay with this, yeah, thank you. If you all understood, we can wind up to this class. And this is the last class. Okay, let me know what are the things we have studied. You have to go with the exam preparation, isn't it? Monday also I will give, so not Monday, 18th also I will come and give a brief explanation and what are the things you have gone through with it. Otherwise I can go, it's wasting time now, no? 18th I will give the brief summary of the environmental biology, right? Okay, have a good day, and tomorrow is a holiday. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.